Welcome to Renewed and Radiant Podcast. This is where we have the real and raw conversations. So if you're ready to rise into the woman you were created to be, you're in the right place. And together we can design a life you love. Okay, today you are in for something special. I have recently met this lady, and I knew when I met her, I needed to, or when I saw her content, that I needed to have her come and share with us here. This is Kari Olson, and I'm going to read her bio because she's got a lot going on here. She is a business coach, a mindset mentor, and passionate believer that women deserve both financial abundance and time freedom. Amen. Her journey started in the rubble of a devastating divorce where she had to rebuild everything: her identity, her finances, and her faith in God's promises. And through that season, God showed her that He doesn't just want us to survive, He wants us to thrive. Yes. So today, Kari helps women build profitable coaching businesses and digital products that give them the freedom to show up for their families, serve their calling, and live abundantly. Welcome, Kari Olson. I am so happy to have you here with me today.
Amen. Thank you for having me. What an honor.
This is going to be amazing. I know she has a great story, so I'm excited for us all to hear it. Okay, Kari, please. I am all about the real and the raw. So I want to hear the real raw story. That where were you and what got you to where you are today? Will you please share that with us?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it started in 2011. I was diagnosed with cancer as a very young mom. My ex-husband at that time, well, my husband at that time, he was also diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Oh
And
my.
it was just a recipe for disaster. So, I ended up running errands one day and I came home. He was sitting there on the front porch with his backpack on, and he's like, "This is not fun anymore, and I'm out of here." And I was like, what? I had no idea. The rug was just pulled from underneath my feet. I mean, yes, I was not very much fun. I was sleeping so much. I was so sick. And yet I never believed that, something like that would happen to me. So it was devastating. I was healing physically, emotionally, just in every way. My kids were 5, 7, and 9. And then I was also like, oh my goodness, I have a mortgage to take care of all by myself. And he wasn't helping in any way financially. So I was working full time. I was licensed as an occupational therapist. When that wasn't enough, I got a second job. When that wasn't enough, I got a third job. I'm like, I just have to do what this takes, and my parents are third generation farmers. Like, if something's not working, you just work harder and more and hustle and grind. And I was like, okay, I guess this is just what we do. But yeah, that did not go very well. So our house did end up falling into foreclosure. It was a horrible, like, shameful time. I felt the pressure every time I walked in the door. And I was like, oh man, like, I said that I was going to pay for this. And yet there was just absolutely no way. But the straw that broke the camel's back was in 2015. Our house had already been in active foreclosure for 3 years. 7 times the sheriff's sale fell through. And that's where they literally put your house up for auction at the county courthouse. They give you a day, they give you a time, and then they're like, you need to be out of here 6 months after it sells. I was like, okay. But for 3 years, we lived in that house. And I'm like, that is a miracle. But then the eighth time came. And by then it was July of 2015. And the sheriff caught me in my pajamas at 7 a.m. in the backyard. I literally was letting the dog out. And there he is. He was sitting on my patio furniture waiting for me because they have to physically hand you the papers. And I was like, oh, here we go again. And I was like, I had been trying to protect my kids up until that point, but I'm like, this cannot last much longer. Like, I have to tell them we're moving. I don't know, just something in me that day kind of snapped. And I was like, sat them down for our dinner. I remember we were just having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and they're eating. And I'm like, guys, we are going to be moving. I'm actually going to be looking for a fourth job. And we have to cut out all of your activities. I have to save money for rent. And they were like, you could see the fear in their eyes. And I just knew that I was failing them as their mother. And it broke my heart. And I literally ran as fast as I could to the bathroom, trying not to break down in front of them. And I just bawled into the towels. I don't know for how long I was in there, but at one point, my youngest daughter, Amelie, she came and she knocked on the door and I opened it up. And she's standing there and she has her little like pink cheetah print suitcase. And she's like, Mom, we're going to be okay. I have lots of things for us to sell for money. Like, I could not even hold it together at that point. I'm like sobbing. And like, as beautiful as that was, I mean, she had packed her seashells and her books and her Barbies, all her worldly treasures. Like, she had this taken care of for our family. And I'm like, I love that, but this is not how my daughter should feel. And so that was my line in the sand moment. I was just like, okay, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing here. Obviously, like, I give you my house, my businesses, my kids, everything. Like, have your way. And honestly, since then, he has.
Ah, isn't that wonderful? Ah,
Oh,
submission and just
mm-hmm.
finally letting go. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
what a story. That's powerful. Oh,
Oh,
keep
wild.
going, Carrie.
Okay, so yes, that night I remember got the kids to bed. I was on my knees. I'm like, I obviously have no clue what I'm doing here. Like, I had been trying to start businesses and, make more for our family. Nothing was coming together. And I did, after my cancer scare, I was a health coach. And, I had such a passion for helping people, helping young moms. That was my niche, helping young moms with cancer. And yet we would get to the conversations and they'd be like, I'd love to do this with you, Carrie, but I just don't have the money. And I'm like, well, who am I to not help this person in front of me? So I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, let's just get started. And, I coached and coached and coached for free until I completely burned out. And, I was already working two other jobs, plus being a single mom, plus healing in a million different ways. So at that point, actually, God said, and you're done. You need to heal first. And I had a little temper tantrum. I was like, what? But it was like, it was absolutely what was needed. You know how they say, like, hurt people, but also heal people. And he completely pulled me back. And he was like, we need to do this. And I was so scared because I didn't know that involved. I had been through years and years and years of therapy and counseling and, but I also was a very, just kind of a broken mess at that point. I just a lot of limiting beliefs and people like me don't make money and this is hard and just I was really the biggest person standing in my own way. But once I was able to heal those things and just absolutely know that, yeah, that's just lies to keep you from stepping truly and powerfully into your purpose and everything like that. I was just like so excited. 3 years later, that took a long time for me, but 3 years later, he kind of re-released me and got me back into coaching. And it's been just a beautiful, like, it's not been easy. There have been a couple niches that I've pivoted into, but like it's been so good just to take it like one step at a time, to just be following his lead, to actually feel like, yeah, this is my purpose and, making my mess my message. I also feel like it's just given me so much passion for doing what I'm doing. And like, I so want to help other women who, feel called to more, who know that they're made for so much more than just, living paycheck to paycheck or, being in a job that they're not fulfilled in. So I'm just so grateful at this point. Like literally, if that's what it took to get me to this point, okay, I'll do it. Sign me up. So it's been a beautiful experience, a beautiful journey and adventure with him. And
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you, Carrie. Please keep going. This is such a good story. I love hearing this from you.
yeah. And so I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like, but I knew I had to say yes. And he pulled me in and he sat with me. He invited me to just get completely healed, completely whole. And so that I could, then steward the blessings of what he wanted to do in me and with me and through me. And so even though it felt like a step backwards, man, when he actually did re-release me into coaching, it was like it catapulted me forward. And it is such a different experience now because I am no longer striving. I am not performance driven in the least. I have no fear of man and what others are thinking. I am just like 100% like, okay, Lord, what are we doing? How are we doing this? What is this going to look like? And man, it's always so much better than we could ask, think, or imagine. So I'm actually really grateful.
Oh, that's incredible. Isn't it amazing when you get to the point of your journey and, it takes a while. I'm at that point too, but it's so freeing when you get to the point of your journey when you can look back and say, I'm actually thankful I went through that, even though it was so hard, but because of
Yes.
where it's brought me to. And I always say that God will use your journey to lead you to your destiny if we let him. And it's
Amen.
so awesome to be able to get to that point where you are fully healed and you're actually thankful for everything that you went through because it's brought you to where you are today.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so grateful. Yeah. We just his perspectives and his ways are always better. Even when it doesn't logically make sense. Yeah, I just want to encourage anyone listening out there. Just be like, okay, Lord, this is your business anyways. I'm just, the manager, but like whatever you say goes.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. So, I would say, and you can add into this, but the takeaways that I'm getting from this is A, like you said, hurt people, but also healed people help heal people. And so when we go through that, uncomfortable and taking the step and being brave to actually heal for ourselves,
Yeah,
that opens up so many things that people that we could never help before, that when once we've healed, then that we can also help other people and help them heal. And that's just so amazing to be able to do that. And then also,
absolutely.
another note that I have too is that pushing through those limiting beliefs. You mentioned limiting beliefs and how you
Yeah.
had to push through that. And
Hmm.
oh my goodness, is that is that not a thing that everyone struggles with? Like we write constantly over our heads, and but learning to push through that and not letting that stop us or hold us back. Because look
Yeah.
at where you would be if you didn't push through those limiting beliefs and allowed that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, we get lost in our own perspectives. The enemy wants to come in and steal, kill, and destroy our destinies, our purposes, the plans that God has for this. And like sometimes we just are like, the things that I kept saying was like, oh, this is so hard. Like, this isn't working. I'm such a failure. People like me don't make money. And like, of course, he wanted to keep me in those loops. But like, when we are renewing our thoughts and our minds with the word, we're getting perspective from amazing godly women who are like, hey, is that actually true? Is that what God would tell you? Like, we can get out of our own perspective. Because for me, it did seem true. It did seem like making money was hard. It did seem like I was a failure. But like when we're able to take that step back and actually be like, okay, Lord, what would you say about this? Gosh, it changes everything. And that's one thing I didn't know. Like, we actually get to choose our beliefs. I just thought that, I'm going to let my circumstances determine what is true or not true for me. But like, it just completely changed my world, my life, and my business when we know and understand that we get to have a choice in what we believe, what we are renewing our mind with, how we can capture those thoughts and make them submit to the truth, which is the word of God. So, yeah, I just get so excited because it opens up a whole new world for people when we actually do understand we have way more control over this than we actually realize. We are not victims, that we are absolutely victors.
Isn't that amazing? That's got to be our biggest takeaway from today, I think, is that you choose your beliefs. We choose what we believe about ourselves, what we tell
Yeah.
ourselves, what we believe about everything. We get to
Yeah.
choose that. And
Yeah.
so, even if we're not making the conscious effort to choose godly, positive, whatever, excellent, praiseworthy, all of those things, if we're choosing not to focus on that, then we're choosing the negative. Or we
Yeah.
can shift that and choose to believe the actual truth about ourselves and about everything.
Amen. Yeah, that's it.
So good, Carrie. I love this. Okay, so tell us, what are you doing now? Oh my goodness, like how are you? You mentioned coaching, so what are you doing?
Yes. So after, last summer, I actually had started an affiliate coaching program. I actually didn't even want to do it. God told me to. I was like, fine. So, like, that has been such a blessing. I am so grateful that, yeah, I have allowed him to supersede my logic and what seems like a good or not good idea. And that was the program that, after, I mean, you just heard all my financial struggles, but he said, do this. I did it. I stepped in, said yes, and he helped me create $100,000 in 67 days. And so I was like, holy moly, Lord. So I'm still doing that, but that's very passive income. My heart is really for coaching women in regards to getting their own profitable online business, getting up and started, overcoming the beliefs and the mindsets that hold us back, and just knowing that He has such amazing plans and purposes for us when we seek Him and when we just keep taking that next right step with Him.
Oh, I love this. This is amazing. So, Carrie, I just don't want to go any further until we say, how can people get in contact with you? This sounds like something probably that a lot of ladies may be interested in. How can they reach out to you or follow you or get involved in what you're doing or learn more how they can be coached by you?
Thank you for asking. Okay, so I am most active. I have a school community called Mindset and Marketing with God. It is free. I am pouring into, the beliefs, the success beliefs, but also very godly biblical beliefs around what it takes to run a successful online business. So would love to have you join me there. I'm on Facebook, just friend me, and then to learn more about the program that I was talking about there, you can go to www.amentoDailyPay.com.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I will
Yeah.
definitely be looking more into that. That's great. Yes. Okay. I love this. So, Carrie, if someone's listening to this and they can really resonate where you were at any point in your journey,
Yeah.
what would you say is a practical first step that they could do today to start moving towards their goals?
Ooh, okay. So, what I would encourage you to do is kind of think about in the next 90 days, like what is that big, let's say, just an income goal that you would like to obtain? And maybe it is $30,000 in the next 90 days. And you just write that out at the top of your page. And then, just pray and say, Lord, like, what are the underlying things why I think I can't do this? And then just brain dump. Well, it's going to be hard, or I don't know how, or I'm not whatever, an expert enough. Like, get it all out on paper. Like, get it out of your head so you actually know those are the limiting beliefs that you're dealing with. Then I would say rate them on a scale of like 1 to 10, with 10 being like, oh yeah, that feels 100% true. So, let's just say we use that example. I'm not enough of an expert, to be a coach, to whatever you want to do. And then we can look at, is this true? Like, that's my perspective. That feels 100% true. But if, like, Jesus was standing right in front of you, would he agree with you on that? And look for evidence of, like, what the word says, because that is truth. Like, this may seem like a fact, but we want to go to him. So you can even ask, Lord, what do you say about this? Should I not start a coaching program because I'm not enough of an expert? Well, we know that God, he doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. You just need to keep taking that next right step. Like, you're kind of deconstructing those beliefs and just opening up new possibilities to, hey, maybe I have more hope in regards to this than I actually thought I did. And then what I do is, every 2 weeks, I'm just looking at those beliefs. Okay, let's do a rating again. You want to see them coming down in intensity. You do not want it to stay at a, 10 out of 10. I believe this is true. I believe coaching is hard. I believe making money is hard. You want them to be more neutral. And that comes by capturing those negative thoughts, renewing it, submitting it to the Lord, and, even just looking for logic and evidence in the natural. Is this really hard for every single person on the earth? Well, no, actually, a lot of people are making good money doing what they love. And so there's so many ways we can actually, lower that emotional intensity, but like, our subconscious is running this show. So we just need to know what we're dealing with and then, kind of neutralize those limiting beliefs.
Oh, that's powerful. This is going to be amazing. I think a lot of people are going to do that and find a lot of freedom there. That is great. Thank you for sharing that. Oh,
Absolutely.
okay, Kari. One last thing. We need to do some rapid fire questions to help people
Okay.
get to know you a little bit better, just for fun.
Awesome.
So, what is your favorite healthy food?
Passion fruit.
Oh, yum. Yes. What favorite place you've ever traveled to?
I would say most recently was Bali. I was there in March and oh my goodness, it was just so beautiful. That was a bucket list trip.
Oh, that's amazing. So good. And then last one is what's something that people may be surprised to know about you?
That I was an extra on the set of The Chosen. That was a super fun time. If you've ever seen that show, I'm a huge fan, and it was awful. It was freezing and cold and miserable, but I still loved every second of it.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. And any specific scenes that we can see you really well in?
So I was there for, yeah, I think it's the end of season 2 and the start of season 3 when Jesus is doing the Sermon on the Mount. I was in
Okay.
those. Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. Awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
this has been incredible. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and just your story. And I love the real and raw version of your story where we can just really
Mm.
get to know what you've been through, and so many people can relate to that. And I just really appreciate you sharing that today. So thank you for being here, and I'm sure lots of people will be checking out your information and contacting you. Yeah, so thank you for being willing to be open and to share your story.
Thank you, Elsa, for having me. Such a pleasure. I've enjoyed getting to know you as well.
Mhm. All right. If this episode has resonated with you, make sure you check out Carrie's information on Facebook, on the website, and share this with a friend that you think it might be helpful with. Because so many people are going through so many things. So let's share this and be the one that can be helpful to others so that we can all design a life we love. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for tuning in today. If this episode spoke to you even in the smallest way, would you do me a quick favor? Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Leave a like or a review because it truly helps the message reach more women who need it. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, share this episode with her. You never know. Your share might be the spark that changes her entire season. I'm grateful you're here, walking this journey of renewal and radiance with me. And until next time, keep choosing to design a life you love.